Hi, CADCA. I'm Amy Pica, Director of Membership and Online Community here at CADCA. I am interviewing a fantastic youth sector leader for the May installment of our members only 12 sectors, 12 months, 12 minutes here in the CADCA community. As a reminder, every month we're featuring a 12-minute video interview with a sector leader to help support your efforts to recruit and maintain sectors in your coalition. After the video is posted, the sector leader will be available for a live Q&A chat in the CADCA community, and then they will be available to answer any additional questions posted on the community throughout the week. There will also be a tip sheet created for each sector, which will be unveiled at the following month's event. These tip sheets help you learn best strategies for engaging with each sector. Your questions help create the tip sheets, so it's important that you ask questions and stay engaged. Please remember this is a monthly members only exclusive series. It runs through February 2022. Renew your membership on time so you don't miss out on any of the interviews. Now, don't forget to check out the past interviews, chats, and tip sheets on the CADCA community. We have interviewed the faith-based, media, and law enforcement sectors so far. Please take a moment to check out our 3 tip sheets for each of these sectors. They are all posted in a folder in the CADCA Communities Library labeled 12 sectors. As always, please reach out to us at membership@cadca.org with any questions. Now let's get started with today's interview. I have been at CADCA for over 5 years, and I'm continuously amazed when I meet our youth sector leaders. They truly do make a significant impact in their communities while juggling all their responsibilities. And let's be real for a moment, this year has been one of the toughest. So I'm no less impressed with Vinayak Menon, who I am interviewing today. Vinayak is the youth sector leader for the Forsyth County Drug Awareness Council and a rising junior at Lambert High School in Georgia. He has been actively involved with the coalition for the past 2 years and represented his district at multiple CADCA national trainings. He is also a community contributor for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he has advocated for substance prevention on behalf of youth. Outside of prevention work, Vinayak is an officer in his school's speech and debate team and Future Business Leaders of America's Club. Welcome, Vinayak.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity, Ms. Pica, and I'm looking forward to talking and answering questions about the youth sectors of CADCA.
Thanks, Vinayak, and I just can't tell you how much we appreciate you volunteering to do this. Now, since we try to keep this to 12 minutes, we'll get started, okay?
Sounds good.
Great. So Vinayak, how did you get started in coalition work and how long have you been involved?
Sure. So I joined the youth sector of the Forsyth County Drug Awareness Council about 2 years ago as a freshman in high school. And really the reason why I joined is that as a student in high school, I began to notice that substance abuse was a growing issue in my school and among my peers. And it took various forms, such as underage alcohol use, vaping, smoking, and opioids. And I was really taken aback by this experience because I once held the notion that drug misuse was isolated to certain areas and communities. But once I saw the firsthand impact that it had on my friends and a peer in the hallways of my school, I realized that we needed youth advocates and youth leaders for a crisis that disproportionately affected young people. So that's really what prompted me to join the youth sector and start prevention work.
That's great. I think, Vinayak, it's really easy, just as you said, to think like this is happening to a different group. It's not affecting me, but just as you said, you notice that it's really affecting everyone and friends of yours. So it's such an important work. So thank you for saying that. Okay, so we'll keep going and go on to the next question. Were there any barriers to getting involved with coalition work?
For me personally, I didn't have any barriers in getting involved with my coalition's youth sector. We have a fantastic director in Ms. Tammy Nicholson, who helped involve me in coalition work and has greatly supported our initiatives. And along the way, I've also had some great teachers and advisors from CADCA, like Mr. Nigel Wrangham, who really inspired me and provided me with a lot of advice on drug prevention. But for any youth that are interested in coalition work and maybe have some challenges, I would definitely encourage them to not be shy to contact the directors of their coalitions and connect with as many people from their local community and from CADCA as possible, because those connections and networks are the best way to involve yourself in prevention work and really do a lot of good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're spot on with that. And I know, especially, I was very shy in high school. I'm sure a lot of folks are, but I'm sure Tammy and any coalition director just would welcome any youth into the coalition. So it's true. It's like, don't be afraid to ask. You're always welcome, I'm sure, in a coalition. So thank you for pointing that out. Okay, so we'll keep going. What strategies, language, etc., were instrumental initially in helping you decide to become involved?
Sure, that's a great question. So I was able to learn about my coalition and get involved because fortunately, the Forsyth County Drug Awareness Council has an active social media on Facebook. We have a full run website and a school club. So there's a Lambert Drug Awareness Council at my high school. But I believe that for other coalitions that are interested in creating a youth council or expanding their existing youth council, the key to having a successful and sustainable youth council is having some level of infrastructure and outreach. So, kind of what that looks like is making sure that you're involved in the middle schools, the high schools, that you have a social media account on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram that has a decent following in your community, and that you also have some youth leaders that are very passionate about bringing new members on board. So, outreach is one very crucial factor. And another key factor is involvement. So in my first year with my council, I was able to connect with community leaders, attend the CADCA National Forum and the mid-year conference. So really it's key to reach out and find youth within your community. But once you have a good group, it's key to engage them and make sure that they're involved with your coalition.
Absolutely. And I think, what we can do is share the Facebook pages on the community today. So other members can look at it, because we do get that question, like, how do you make your social media accounts relevant to youth so that you can get them involved. And I really like your point about middle school and making sure, there's a good pipeline. I hear a lot that, there's a great youth council, but then they graduate and it falls apart. So starting in middle school and building that pipeline, I think is really important to keep coalitions going and keep a strong council. So those are all, again, just great points. Okay, so we'll just keep going since we try to stick to the 12-minute rule. You mentioned the CADCA National Forum and the mid-year training. Could you explain what you took away from those trainings and what knowledge you may have gained?
Absolutely. So both of these conferences were incredible opportunities to learn and network with some great experts in drug prevention. I was able to absorb a plethora of information. I learned about emerging trends in substance abuse, how drugs affect the cognitive development of teens, and some federal laws that relate to tobacco. So there's a lot of information that you can gain when you attend CADCA conferences. And if there are any coalitions or maybe teams that want to attend these conferences for the first time, the advice I would give is to plan ahead, because with all the information that's there, it can easily overwhelm you. So let me give you an example. When I attended my first CADCA conference, one of the things I wanted to do is have a conversation with the speakers from my sessions, my coalition watch it. So I emailed some of the speakers for the seminars that I was going to attend, and then I had interviews and more in-depth discussions with them after they had their presentations. So really one takeaway is to plan ahead, and you can make the best use of all the information that you can access at the conferences. And another thing is that I'm really excited and I'm interested about policy and how the government functions. I'm on the speech and debate team at my school, like you mentioned. So, governmental matters are very exciting for me. So, at the National Forum, we have the CADCA Capitol Hill Day. And I got a really unique opportunity to spend roughly an hour speaking to the representative from my district, who was Congressman Rob Woodall. And during that meeting, I got to speak with him and present him with some information about the impact of e-cigarettes and its physical, emotional, and social effects. And what I really realized is the importance of the youth voice in informing our elected officials and shaping policies that affect our community. So to kind of summarize, these conferences are great opportunities to learn, but they can also help you advocate about issues that you care about.
Yeah, I agree. And I know, it's great to hear that you have an interest in how the government works. And I know, for you or any other youth, our public policy team would always be happy to have a call and chat about it and explain it even more. And I hear that just having the youth on Capitol Hill is so impactful to our representatives that it's just really a great way to advocate. And I think it's a great experience for you all as well. So I'm really glad to hear that. And planning is important too. I know folks who get to the mid-year and forum and everything's online ahead of time, so you can plan out the schedule and really figure out how to make the most out of the days at mid-year and forums. That's important. Okay, so we'll keep going. So many coalitions rely on volunteers who represent their sectors, and volunteers are more likely to stay involved when they are asked to carry out specific tasks. What are examples of specific tasks coalitions can ask youth volunteers to complete, which will be a good use of their expertise and keep them involved?
That's another great question. Youth volunteers are really a key component to any coalition because they have an insight on the risk factors that are affecting their peers. And they can also, be your liaisons and your representatives to spread your message across your target audience. So in terms of volunteering, that can take many shapes and sizes. And I'll just give you a couple examples from our coalition and the work that we've been doing during this
Right.
year. So, last summer, for example, obviously the lockdown was happening. Many families were struggling because we were obviously seeing COVID numbers rise. So our youth council wanted to serve the community, and we created a COVID-19 resource guide, which is kind of like a pamphlet that lists key hotlines and information. And we partnered with local food banks like Meals on Wheels, Meals by Grace, and we distributed that information to key members of our community. And then another example is that in the fall, our county started to have monthly opioid take-back days. And our youth council started to help find locations for the take-back days. And we, including myself, we volunteered on the day of the take-back to help some of our sheriffs and our officers. So really, youth can help strengthen a lot of the events and activities that coalitions plan. More recently, we're trying to involve our youth in communication. So in March, we wanted to inform our county about the effect that COVID-19 and social isolation had on substance abuse. So our youth council created, directed, and moderated a county-wide town hall that talked about that topic, and we had panelists from healthcare, from rehabilitation, from law enforcement, and then we streamed it across multiple platforms. So youth are really, really key. They can advocate, they can communicate, and they can strengthen all the efforts that a coalition is trying to implement.
Absolutely, Vinayak, I just think you're spot on with that. And all those examples are just great ways that you and the youth were able to stay engaged and have projects, working on engaging the community during COVID, because I know that was a challenge for a lot of coalitions this year. And it sounds like you all really came through on that, which is fantastic. All right, so we have one final question so that we stick to our time. So here it is. Why do you stay engaged in coalition work?
Sure. I stay engaged in coalition work because I truly believe that I can make a difference about a problem that I'm passionate about. Through these last couple of years of being involved in my coalition and really meeting with members of my community, I've gotten to see some of the harm and pain that substance abuse inflicts on youth, on families, and really on entire communities. So for me, these problems are worth fighting for, and you need a coalition to address and solve them. Like many of the coalitions across America, our coalition uses the SPF, the Strategic Prevention Framework. And what I really took away from that is that the behavior of individuals does not exist in a vacuum. Their mental health, their relationship with their family members, their culture, and their environment all influence the decisions that they make. And that's really why coalition work is so important, because you need each of these 12 sectors of a coalition working together and collaborating to make such a large impact on an incredibly important issue. So that's why I'm really hoping in these upcoming years to continuing to be involved in my coalition and attending CADCA conferences, because this is an issue that I'm really passionate about. And through CADCA, I think I can really make an impact on it.
And I do think you're making an impact. And you just couldn't have said it better, that we're not all, working on this by ourselves, that we're all doing it together and making a difference, Vinayak. And I think, I'm looking forward to you being engaged with CADCA and with your coalition for a long time, and making an impact, which is exactly what you're doing in your community. So that's just really, really fantastic. So Vinayak, thank you so much for your time today. I know, everyone in high school is busy with end of the year exams and wrapping up the year. And so it means so much to us that you took the time to volunteer and interview. And I know all of our members really appreciate it as well. So thank you very much, Vinayak.
Thank you so much as well. This has been a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to answering any of the questions that our members have.
Absolutely. So to that point, we'll be live for 30 minutes now for a Q&A chat. So you're in the CADCA community right now, and you should see a thread where we're starting the conversation, and you can just ask your questions there and Vinayak will answer them. And then he'll also be available throughout the week to answer questions. So don't worry if you don't get your question answered in the first 30 minutes. We'll be answering questions all week, and leave the chat open. And of course, this video will be up and live all week as well. So again, Vinayak, I just really can't thank you enough. I think you are doing a fantastic job in your community. And I can't wait to see where you go in the next several years. And mid-year is virtual this year, which is fantastic, because we're able to engage so many more people who wouldn't be able to travel. But I'm also really looking forward to seeing you and everybody else at Forum coming up in February. So thanks again. We just appreciate it so much.
Thank you as well.